things don't always hide in the shadows. They don't always hide in the shadows. It's very easy to hide in the shadows, to hide in the dark. But light is always going to draw that out. It's always going to attract. So whatever's in the shadows must come forth. The thing about perversion is that there is a large misconception that it's something that is in the corner, you know, undercover, discreet, covert. Not always. Not always. Perversion loves to operate that way, but when there becomes an infestation or an increase of perversion, it starts coming out anywhere and everywhere. People think that, you know, perversion only likes to attach itself to things of sexual nature. That perversion is an energy and an entity that only is operating from a lustful base. It's not always true. You don't have to be out here half naked. You don't have to be out here flirtatious, promiscuous, flaunting. You don't really have to do too much as far as the physical goes with perversion, because once again, that's just one layer of perversion. The type of perversion I'm talking about and want to speak on is the perversion that feeds itself off of purity, or it feeds itself off of high vibrational source or high frequency radiation of an individual. Okay? And it can catch you off guard when it happens. Hence why it is very important, no matter how spiritual you feel you are, to always be mindful of your surroundings, to always use discernment. Because when you enter into a space of engaging in light, when you enter into a meditative space, when you enter into a prayerful space, it is always going to attract the opposite ion, or the opposite charge, or the opposite frequency, because opposites attract, right? So yes, always keep yourself protected, even more so when you are deepening yourself spiritually. You definitely have to keep yourself protected even more, because that's when the attacks are going to start getting a little bit harder. My bad, I'm staring at this hawk in the sky over here. Oh, it's two of them. See, the thing about nature is that we can get so enthralled by it, by its beauty, that once again we may not be aware of the things that are watching us as we're watching nature, or as we're experiencing God, so to speak. Just as you are watching, something is always watching you. It may not be something visible to the eye always, but something's always watching you. In fact, what you may be observing may be observing you in some cases, or in other cases it may be something and somebody totally separate from what you're observing or adoring. But always keep your eyes open even when you have them closed. um, I'm not saying any of this to scare anybody, but it is some honest and real, truthful shit. Because perversion is on the rise. We see it. We see it happening. And unfortunately, some of the most sacred of places have the most perverted individuals. See? Some of the most sacred places, some of the most sacred practices have the most perverted individuals with the most perverted intentions. Why is that? Because once again, opposites attract. When there is an abundance of life source, an abundance of joy, an abundance of love, the opposite frequency is going to gravitate towards that, without a doubt. And again, it has nothing to do, in this case, it has nothing to do with the physical, with the outer countenance. When you position yourself to walk upright, to be forthright, and to operate with insight, you're gonna be attractive as fuck. You are. And that's again not talking about physical beauty per se. Perversion is like a battery. Okay. It does not fuel anything outside of itself, number one. And two, just like all batteries, it needs to be charged. So when it's feeling depleted, it's going to go searching for a desirable source to charge itself up on. What I'm talking about is a type of perverted entities that want to take advantage of your energetic shield that you have. They want to step into it. They want to embrace it. Because it's something that they are lacking, that they desperately need. It's a lot of unstability still in these times as we shift back. And in the transition of things, there's always cracks. There's always ways for things to get in and ways for things to come out. Hence why you will see and may experience perversion. Or distortion of whatever peace or purity or stillness you're trying to cultivate for yourself. Another thing, when you are out within nature, you are never alone. You are never, never, ever alone. Please don't ever think that. It may seem that way because you don't see any people, but yo, hopefully you acknowledge animals as living entities to where you don't consider that being alone. Okay? But rule of thumb, as an individual who loves to wander in the bush, you're never alone. You're never alone. It's always one other person, one other person, one other entity out there. But I say that to say this. If you are someone that deeply desires to connect with divinity through its most natural source, being nature, and you do it in ways that require you to seek seclusion, and you are approaching your practice with intentions of high frequency, protect yourself. Protect yourself, please. You are protected, but also protect yourself. People can be spiritually naive and just blindly act in this world without logical precaution. Okay, I'm not saying not have faith in whom you walk with, whom you pray to, whom you devote your practice to. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying listen to their judgment and be logical and protect yourself. Because we're not out here battling against flesh and blood. Nope. Oh, here she go again talking about fighting and war and battling. Yeah, no, it's serious. It's very serious. It's very serious. Why wouldn't perverted energy want to be near something that is reflecting God? Now, one may say, okay, perverted energy is equated to evil energy, so therefore if you are reflecting God, then it is repelled by you. Yes, sometimes, but no, not all the times. Because the individuals or the entities that are operating in this perverted energy are deeply distorted, and they are deeply imbalanced and maybe deeply hurt by something. So in short, they need some type of healing. And when they sense another individual or another entity that is giving off healing vibrations, they gonna come on over. Okay? So for those of you who are young in this way being whatever way that you are taking to uphold yourself as a righteous being, those of you who have been on this way for quite some time, and those of you who are elders on this way, you will come to understand why protection is necessary. Both spiritual protection and being able to protect yourself, or having the logic of acting in a way that's going to make the situation not be unfortunate. Perversion is not always sexual. Look, you don't. It's not like you gotta be in the club, like, throwing it back, twerking for somebody to come up on you and sexually abuse you. That's not always the case. That is not always the case. You can be doing something real simple and catch somebody doing some wild shit because of where you are in that moment. Don't be so present in the moment that you check out of everything else, is ultimately what I'm saying. Because in that moment is where it slips in. Even in the most sacred of places, perversion still lies. It still lurks. Hence why, you have reportings of spiritual leaders abusing their devotees or their followers. Reportings of teachers fondling their students. Cases of masters. Cases of masters doing perverted things with their underlings. It's very easy to get perverted when you have influence, or operate in perversion when you have influence. It's very easy. Especially if the influence that you have is in the realm of a place or a practice that is meant to cultivate an individual, because people are giving you their trust. They're giving the person of influence their trust. This person would never do anything like that. Never, 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 never. They have my best interest in mind and heart. Now, I'm not saying every sacred place you go to, you and definitely going to find perversion. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, don't be naive. Don't be naive. There still remain a lot of charlatans in this world. There still remain a lot of masters who have mastered whatever art, but they have not mastered themselves. So, be vigilant. Understand, the more beautiful you become in the spirit, the more you're going to attract. You're going to attract some beautiful things, and you're going to attract some ugly ass motherfuckers. Oh. You're going to attract a whole lot. Hence why you must stay protected. Both in the spiritual realm and in the physical realm. And there are many different ways you can do this. But you have to find the way that's best for you.